Joining me right now is the incoming counselor to President-elect Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway, joining us. Kellyanne, good to see you. Thanks so much for spending the time.
It's great to be with you, Maria.
How will the administration deal with this controversy as we saw what took place yesterday?
In terms of the
dossier,
BuzzFeed report?
How will Donald Trump deal with this fictitious report?
Well, calling it a dossier actually just makes it sound fancy in French. It's actually an internet report, not an intelligence report. We already knew that. We knew it was a pile of junk, but then last night, apparently, Mr. Clapper told the president-elect that it is not an intelligence community document. That's very important for the viewers to know. I think the last part of the Clapper statement from last night, Maria, is the most operative part, which is where he goes on to say they could not verify the information and they based none of their conclusions on this information. We also know, Maria, that these rumors had been circulating for months, and anti-Trump members of the mainstream media were chasing these rumors and decided, even though they wanted to help Hillary Clinton get elected, they just couldn't put the information out there because it's not verified. They couldn't corroborate it. But here we are having a conversation about it. The president-elect had to address it in his first president-elect press conference yesterday. And it's very unfortunate, I think, to have to deal with this at a time when intelligence gathering and our national security obviously are so fraught.
Kellyanne, it's pretty clear that there are groups out there that still will not accept the fact that Donald Trump won this election fair and square. And part of it is the media, part of it is even, pockets of the GOP, I imagine. I'm looking at a report right now that says Senator John McCain was the one who passed this document to the FBI Director Jim Comey last month, alleging secret contacts between the Trump campaign and Moscow and that Russian intelligence had personally compromising material on the president-elect. How much culpability do you think does John McCain have?
I'm not going to go there this morning, Maria. It may be that the moment a United States senator is given information like this, it's his or her duty to turn it over. But I just think getting back to the major point here is it is irresponsible. This is the president-elect's point yesterday and going forward. It is just irresponsible, and it is certainly not journalism, to have unverified, uncorroborated stuff coming from the internet put together by apparently anti-Trump operatives and I guess later in the summer after he became the nominee, put together by people who wanted Hillary Clinton to win. So I think that's what we really need to focus on here. What are the standards of journalism going forward? Is he going to continue to be disrespected and not given deference and a fair and free shot by members of the media? It just doesn't feel that way. You know, Marie, if you look at some of the chyrons, if you look at the consultants, if you look at some of the anchors, if you listen to the way they cast their stories, it sounds like it's the campaign still. This man is going to be president of the United States in 8 short days. He won over 2 months ago. It really is time for people to show the respect to the office of the president and its imminent occupant in a way that, as Mike Pence, our vice president-elect, said yesterday, we all believe in a fair and free press, but with freedom comes responsibility. And we expect that responsibility to be a two-way street.
So how would you characterize his relationship then with the intelligence executives? I mean, I know he had the phone call with James Clapper yesterday. Has the relationship improved? How would you characterize it?
I would characterize it as great. In other words, the 4 top intelligence officials in our nation, Maria, came here to Trump Tower last Friday and briefed the president-elect and other members of his team on the information that they had. They didn't brief him on the information that they don't have, perhaps, and that they can't verify and corroborate, which I think is an important point to make. But also, the president-elect came out with a statement right after that, and the statement very clearly began with how appreciative he was of the briefing, of receiving the briefing, and how much he respects and looks forward to working with the hardworking men and women in our intelligence community. Mr. Trump also went on to say in that same statement, Marie, and your viewers can pull it up easily, that Russia, China, North Korea have all hacked or attempted to hack, and they successfully hacked the DNC, which is frankly why we're having this conversation at all. And then in the last paragraph, the president-elect has committed to meeting with his intelligence and security team and asking them for a plan within the first 90 days of his presidency so that we can take a really hard look at cybersecurity, because obviously that's porous. Obviously, we couldn't get the current administration excited about cybersecurity until the election results did not go their way. This hue and cry and this urgency about expelling Russian operatives and talking about cybersecurity and hacks really came after the election results were neither what Mr. Obama, Mrs. Clinton, and the rest wanted or expected.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when 21 million Americans had their information hacked at the Office of Personnel Management by China, we got a shrug-shouldered response compared to the response now.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point. And I think yesterday when the president-elect talked about Russia, he basically said, look, I don't know if I'm going to get along with Russia. I don't know, but it's better to have a better relationship than not, and that's how I feel right now. But